There is a number the federal government will never mail you a letter about. A modest income widow in this country can leave somewhere north of $4,000 a year on the table. Money she qualifies for, money that is legally hers, for one reason only. Nobody ever told her the names. It's 1991. You're standing in your parents' kitchen, and your mother is on the phone with a woman from the county. You can only hear one side of it. Yes, I'm still here. And then she does something you never forget. She pulls the little pad off the hook by the phone, and she writes down a name, slowly, the way you'd write down a password, because that's what it was. There was a program that could help her, and the only way in was to already know what it was called. That pad by the phone is this entire video, because here's what took me years to understand about the way our generation was raised around money. Almost none of it comes to you. There's no letter. There's no knock on the door. Every system in this country that owes an older American a dollar is built the same way. It waits, quietly, fully funded, completely legal, for you to walk up and ask for it by name. And if you don't know the name, the money just stays where it is. So today I'm going to hand you 13 names. 13 benefits you may already qualify for in 2026 that will not find you on their own. Some are worth a few $100s a year. One of them is worth the difference between a spouse keeping the house and losing it. And the last name on the list is the one that quietly unlocks the other 12. By the end of this, you'll have every one of those names written down on your own pad. One honest note first. I'm not a lawyer or your advisor, and none of this is personal advice. It's just the stuff our generation was never handed. Now get a pen. 13 names. Name number 1 is SNAP, but not the SNAP you're picturing. After 60, the rules change. No gross income test for an elderly household, and the net income limit sits around $1,300 a month for one person. The benefit runs up to about $298 a month. Call it $3,500 a year. And that's not a one-time thing. Claimed from 65 into your 80s, that's the better part of $60,000 over a retirement for filling out one form. Here's why so many of us walk past it anyway. One word in our heads, families. We were sure SNAP was for young families with kids. It isn't. It's for you. That's the first brick in a wall I'm going to keep pointing at, the quiet belief that this money is for someone needier than us. It rarely is. Number 2 is the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, CSFP. A monthly box of groceries, about $50 worth, roughly $600 a year, for seniors under about 130 to 150% of the poverty line. It feeds around 600,000 older Americans right now. One straight caveat, it's discretionary money, so a local program can run a wait list, which is the reason you call early, instead of assuming there's no room for you. Number 3 is the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, SFMNP, and I'll be honest, this one's small. A seasonal voucher, usually $20 to $80 a year for fresh produce, for households under about 185% of poverty. It's the every little bit item. Its funding runs state by state on reauthorization, so whether it's live in your area this year varies. Call it a check locally one, not a guaranteed one. But you write the name down anyway, because a name costs you nothing. Now the tax code. And this is the group almost nobody thinks of as money because it doesn't come as a check. It just quietly gave you a second birthday. Number 4, on top of the regular standard deduction, turning 65 adds an extra bump, around $2,000 for a single filer. And layered on top, for 2025 through 2028 only, there's a new senior deduction worth up to $6,000 a person, $12,000 for a couple where both are 65. It phases out above $75,000 single, $150 for a couple. Write this part down. It expires after 2028. That's not a scare, it's just what the law says. A real clock on real money. Number 5 is the credit for the elderly or the disabled, Schedule R. And I want you to hear the difference, because the tax code speaks a language we were never taught. This is a credit, not a deduction. A deduction lowers the income you're taxed on. A credit comes straight off the tax you owe, dollar for dollar. This one runs up to $7,500 off what you owe for lower income older filers. Same money, completely different weight. And most people never file the form because no one ever explained that one word to them. Number 6, still in the tax pile, the medical expense deduction. Everything you spend on care above 7.5% of your income can come off your taxable income. And it's broader than you'd guess. Premiums, dental, hearing aids, a ramp for the front step, even the miles you drive to appointments. In a heavy medical year, this single number can outvalue every other check on this whole list. Number 7 isn't a check, it's the strategy sitting on top of those, coordinating as a couple. Which spouse claims Social Security first? Which one carries the medical costs? Who itemizes? I can't hand you a dollar figure because it's yours to shape. But done carelessly, it's a slow leak. And done deliberately, it's real money kept in the house. Now the safety net, and here's the part nobody explained, it has two separate layers. Number 8. If you're on SSI, or near it, 44 states pay a state supplement right on top of the federal check. 6 don't. I'm not going to give you a dollar amount because it genuinely varies state to state, and I won't hand you a number I can't stand behind for where you live. The name is the whole point. Ask your state if you're one of the 44. Number 9 is Lifeline, a discount on phone or internet up to about $9 a month, more on tribal land. If you're already on SNAP, Medicaid, or SSI, you qualify automatically. It's small, but it's quiet, and it's every month, and it stacks with everything else on this pad. And number 10 is the heavy one, Medicaid's spousal impoverishment protections. This is the one that can decide whether a spouse keeps the house or loses it. When one partner goes into a nursing home and you're staring at $9,000 a month, the law does not make the healthy spouse go broke first. That spouse gets to keep a protected resource allowance, depending on the state, somewhere between about $32,000 and $162,000, plus a monthly income floor, running from roughly $2,600 to just over $4,000 a month, with the minimum rising to $2,705 this July. That's from the Medicaid Gov guidance. Think about what that protection is worth stretched over a 3 or 4 year nursing home stay. It's the difference between a surviving spouse inheriting a paid-off house and inheriting nothing but the bills. Nobody hands you this at the nursing home door. You have to know it exists and say the words. Number 11 is for anyone with money in an IRA and a charity they care about, the Qualified Charitable Distribution. Past 70 and a half, you can send up to $111,000 a year straight from your IRA to a charity. It counts toward your required withdrawal, but it never lands in your taxable income. It's not a check to you, it's a shield. Kept in the right year, it can hold you under the line that quietly raises your Medicare premiums. Number 12, and we're in the home stretch of the list, is the VA's aid and attendance pension. If you're a wartime veteran or the surviving spouse of one and you need help with daily living, this is among the largest single checks on the entire list. A veteran alone can receive up to about $2,400 a month. A veteran with a spouse up to roughly $2,874 a month. That's over $34,000 a year. A surviving spouse alone up to about $1,558 a month. Draw that for even a few years of care and you're past $100,000. There's a net worth limit around $163,000, not counting your home or a car. Money you earned in uniform, sitting there because the form is a maze and no one walks you through it. Hold that thought, because the very last name on this list is the person whose job is to walk you through exactly that maze. Number 13 keeps the lights on. LIHEAP, the Heating and Cooling Assistance Program, plus its weatherization side that pays to seal up an old house. Typical help runs a couple hundred to about $1,500 a year toward energy bills. One true note said plainly, this program's elimination has been floated more than once, and Congress has said no every time. But the funding is first come, first served, so the move is to call early in the season, not to panic. That's 13 names on your pad. Before I give you the one that ties them all together, which of these had you never heard of before today? Tell me the number in the comments. I'd bet the room is more split than any of us would guess. So why did any of us need a list like this? Every one of these has sat there for years. The forms exist, the funding is real, and still most people our age walk past all 13. I don't think it's carelessness. I think it's inheritance. We were the latchkey kids. We let ourselves in, made our own dinner, solved our own problems, and we were proud of it. Self-reliance wasn't a preference for our generation, it was identity. It's the reason you've probably never called a county office in your life and felt vaguely relieved about that. That instinct came straight down from parents who learned, in a harder time, that asking got you a look across a desk. But that look is mostly gone. A benefit you paid into for 40 years through your taxes is not a handout, and the clerk on the other end of that phone processes 100 of these a day without a flicker of judgment. The wall is still standing in our heads long after the thing on the other side of it went away. That's the real inheritance nobody talks about. Not the money, but the wariness about asking for it. And here's what happens the moment you set that wariness down. These names stop being a list and start stacking into a number. Because you don't claim one of these. You claim the ones that fit. and they add up faster than you'd think. Let me show you what that looks like on a real kitchen table. Here's a kitchen table you'll recognize. A widow, low fixed income, living alone in the house she and her husband paid off years ago. On her own, she'd probably tell you she doesn't qualify for anything. She worked, he worked, they were always fine, but walk the list with her. She's over 60, so SNAP under the elderly rules is real money. Call it a couple $100 a month. Add the CSFP food box on top. Add LEHEAP toward the winter heating bill. And if her state is one of the 44, the state supplement on her federal check. None of these is large by itself. Stacked, they land in the several $1,000s a year range, quietly, legally, every year. That's the number I put in front of you at the very start. It was never one big check. It was 4 small ones nobody told her to ask for. Which brings us to the last name on the list. And it's the most important one, because it's the one that unlocks the other 12. You do not have to figure all of this out alone at your own kitchen table. There is a whole free network built to do it with you at no cost, with no income test, just to walk in the door. SHIP counselors, that's the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, sit down with you on the Medicare and benefits side. VITA and tax aid volunteers handle Schedule R and the deductions at tax time, and your area agency on aging is the single phone number that knows every local program in your county by name. That's the real answer to a video like this. You were never supposed to memorize 13 programs. You were supposed to know that one call connects you to a person whose entire job is to find the ones that fit you. So that's your pad. 13 names, and the one person who helps you use them. If you do nothing else after this video, circle one, the single one that made you think, wait, that might be me, and make that one call this week, not someday, this week. And I'd genuinely like to know which one you circled, so tell me in the comments the number, and whether you'd ever heard of it before today. If this was useful, a like helps another person our age find it. And if you want more of the things our generation was never handed, that's what this channel is for. One honest closing thought: the generation that was taught never to ask isn't wrong to be careful. That carefulness got us through things the people around us never saw. But careful was never supposed to mean leaving money you earned sitting in a drawer with your name on it. You don't have to change who you are to claim what's yours. You just have to know the name. And now you do.